From the outside, Nathan Coleman had everything a man could ask for: a good job, a decent apartment, and a small but loyal circle of friends. But inside, he was crumbling. Life had a way of throwing problems at him like waves crashing against a weak dam. And one day, the dam broke. This is the story of a man who lost everything but found more than he could ever imagine. A story about pain, resilience, and the quiet force that lives within us all. The strength to grow through what we go through. Nathan wasn't born with a silver spoon. Raised by a single mother who worked two jobs just to keep food on the table, he learned early that life wasn't fair. But he also learned how to hustle. He pushed through school with average grades and got a job at a logistics company right after college. He worked hard, stayed late, said yes to everything. Promotions came slow, but they came. By 32, he was a supervisor with a decent salary. People called him stable and reliable. But underneath, he was exhausted. He barely slept, rarely smiled. His mother's declining health weighed on him, and the daily grind was silently stealing his soul. Then came the first blow. His mother was diagnosed with late-stage lung cancer. Within months, she was gone. Nathan stood alone at her funeral. No siblings, no extended family. Just him and a casket and a storm of regrets. He hadn't taken enough time off. Hadn't said, "I love you" enough. Hadn't noticed how tired she looked the last time they talked. The grief hit like a truck. He tried to return to work, but the spark was gone. He made mistakes, missed deadlines. He got written up, and finally, he was let go. In a matter of 6 months, he had lost his mother, his job, and his sense of self. Nathan sold what little he could and moved into a rundown apartment with peeling paint and creaky floors. His savings began to vanish. Bills piled up, his phone stopped ringing. One morning, with a half-empty fridge and no job prospects, he sat on the floor of his kitchen and cried. Not just tears, but the deep, soul-wrenching sobs of a man who didn't know how to keep going. "Why me?" he whispered. "I did everything right, didn't I?" He considered giving up, fully, completely, the kind of giving up that comes with a permanent end. But then, something happened. A knock on the door. He wiped his tears and opened it to find Mrs. Alvarez, his elderly neighbor from across the hall. "I made too much soup," she smiled. "Thought you might want some." It was just soup, lentil and vegetable, but it tasted like hope. That night, Nathan didn't cry himself to sleep. He just slept. The next morning, he forced himself out of bed and walked around the city handing out resumes. Dozens of places said no, but at a small, dingy auto shop run by a gruff mechanic named Leo, someone finally said yes. "We're not hiring, but my kid just quit. You know how to clean engines?" Leo grunted. "No," Nathan admitted, "but I can learn." And so he did. For $9 an hour, he scrubbed oil off floors and changed tires. His hands bled and his back ached. But every day he showed up. It was humiliating. It was far from what he had once been. But it was something.
Leo wasn't a man of words, but after a few weeks, he started teaching Nathan more: how to fix engines, how to diagnose problems. He'd grunt in approval when Nathan got something right. "You're not bad at this," he said one evening. Nathan laughed. "That's the nicest thing anyone said to me in months." One evening after work, Nathan sat at a local park, watching a father help his son ride a bicycle. The child fell, scraped his knee, cried, but the father didn't pick him up. "You're okay," he said. "Try again." The boy did, again and again, until he rode on his own. Nathan smiled. He went home that night and wrote 3 words on a piece of paper. "Problems are teachers." And just like that, something inside him began to change. He started documenting everything he learned at the shop, took online courses in auto repair, began thinking about how people without money still needed trustworthy mechanics. He created a YouTube channel with just his phone and a cheap mic. He shared tips for people who couldn't afford full-service repairs: how to check oil levels, replace filters, recognize engine sounds. At first, no one watched, but then someone did, then 10, then 100, then 10,000. As the channel grew, so did Nathan. He started a mobile mechanic service, visiting clients who couldn't afford big garages. He kept his rates low and his honesty high. People loved him. Word spread. And one night, Leo sat him down at the shop. "You don't belong here anymore," he said. "You've outgrown this place." Nathan's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," he whispered, "for giving me a chance when no one else would." Leo simply nodded. "Just promise me one thing. Help someone else when they're down." 2 years later, Nathan was running his own business, employing 4 other mechanics, 2 of them formerly homeless. His channel had 500,000 subscribers. He hosted free weekend workshops for single moms and young adults. One day, a young man walked into his shop, skinny, nervous, resume in hand. "I've lost everything," he said. "I just need a chance." Nathan looked at him for a long moment. He saw himself in that young man's eyes, the same desperation, the same flicker of hope buried beneath the pain. "You start Monday," Nathan said. The kid's eyes widened. "Why?" Nathan smiled. "Because someone once did the same for me." Nathan's life didn't change overnight. His problems didn't magically disappear. But he learned that every problem carried a seed, a lesson, a spark, a challenge designed not to break him, but to build him. We all face problems in life. Some big, some soul-shattering. But like storms that shake trees and test their roots, problems reveal what we're really made of. So if you're struggling today, if you feel like life is falling apart, remember this. The problem is not the end. It's the beginning. And like Nathan, you just might find your greatest strength hidden in your darkest hour.